Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I'll Never Tell You, a production of iHeartRadio. And welcome to a very special happy hour. It is our 100th episode.
Loud party noise I can't do. Yay! I don't. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. That's about where we are, to be honest, listeners. This is our final recording session of 2022. We're recording a lot, and we're already tired. But that will not stop us from celebrating. This is actually how I approach celebrations a lot, where I'm like, we're going to have a good time.
It's kind of like, how my mother and my grandmother, you'd be like, you will have fun and you will like it.
Yes. My parents were like that too. As always, with these happy hour episodes, drink responsibly. Anything we mention is not currently a sponsor. We're not mentioning them because they're a sponsor. They're just things that are happening.
Right. They're just things.
They're just things that are happening. Did I mention we're tired? So, Samantha, what are you sipping on?
I am drinking on one of my seltzers. I believe it's a grapefruit, just for the taste of it. Sweetly donated by iHeart, because we took a lot of things from our little party. Yeah, that's what I'm sipping on. What about you?
Well, hilariously enough, I am drinking a very rare in my household white wine.
Yes.
Because I think we should tell this story. I was thinking about this because last year on our holiday party, we did an episode afterwards about how... We did, which wasn't well. We both kind of like stressed out, had strange reactions, and it was for a lot of reasons. But part of it was we hadn't seen people in so long. It just felt so awkward.
Doing a gathering in an awkward place. And then our company is so, this doesn't change, but this was one of those moments of like me trying to cope. But our company has a constant flux of people, and not necessarily because it's just a turnover. Some departments do have big turnovers, but it's because we're adding new shows and need more people. And oftentimes we meet people and my face goes, should I know this person? Or are they new? Or have I not met them yet? Because I came on to iHeart when the pandemic happened. So right before the pandemic. So I literally got to meet a handful of people. And because I only work on one show, I don't interact with a lot of people since we don't go into an office. So meeting new people at an event to commiserate is kind of awkward.
Yeah. And you have the added layer that it's like a work function. And then you have the added layer that we're all so, or at least us, I would say, very concerned about the pandemic. So it was a lot. And we kind of both had, I like literally broke down in a coworker's arms and cried for over an hour. So,
this time or last time?
Last time.
Okay.
So I wanted to do a comparison because we just had our holiday party this year, and there was a couple of interesting things that were happening. Number one, we have a new office, which is not ready. A long way away from being ready, I would say. Even though they keep saying a couple months. We were told June this year.
Oh, that's
right.
Now
it's still
March.
Not ready. Yes, now we're getting March. You can't get in. You have to have somebody let you in. There's no bathrooms that work currently in the space. There is on the premises, because it's kind of like a, live, work, play area.
The awkward part of this is like it's detached from the other part. So we have to still leave the building in this giant office, because it holds not only the podcast section, which is small, honestly, in comparison to, but also the actual radio station. So if you listen to any iHeart stations, we're literally, I guess not all over the world, because there's iHeart offices all over the country. But for us, we have a huge chunk of radio station people, radio network people with us. So we share halves, I guess, or a third and a two-thirds. But no bathroom.
No, currently. And okay, without going too much into detail about Atlanta's traffic is horrible. And the location of this building is not ideal for most people. It doesn't have easy access with public transit, which is a big problem in most of Atlanta, but especially over there. And it was started at rush hour. So I don't know if I told you this whole story, but I was a little late.
Yeah.
And I knew you were there.
Panicking.
Yes, and I knew it. And the Lyft driver could sense my anxiety. And finally, she asked me, like, what's wrong? And I was like, this is holiday party. I gotta get there. I don't know how to interact with people anymore. Blah, 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 blah. And she was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some breathing exercises. And she like walked me through. She's like, you can always ask about the weather. And then once they start talking about the weather, you can just dip into the back. If you want a drink, get a drink and sip on it slowly. She was giving me all these tips.
I like this person.
Yes, she was awesome.
That's some sound advice.
I told her about you, and she was like, you've got to go for your friend. You can't abandon your friend. You've got to get there.
I really like her. Thank you. That's amazing.
Funny. She was like, we've got to get there for her. And I could tell by the text you were sending it was not going well. So that was when I arrived, and we did reunite.
Yes, it's true.
Yes.
Well, and this is the thing, is I got there fairly on time. I kind of knew the area already because I was familiar. But yeah, the panic moment was, I don't have access to get in. There was no real notification on how to do this. This is very limited information. Y'all, it was very nice of the person who put it together. You could tell they really tried, but you could also tell it was last minute. So it definitely felt more like a afternoon office party
right
than anything else. So that, which is, hey, whatever. So I was trying to figure that out. Met up, like I was walking and I hear my name and I look up awkwardly because I'm avoiding staring at strangers. That's my thing. It's like, I don't want to keep looking at people oddly. And then it turned out to be old producer, Dylan. And he was like, hey. I was like, oh my God, thank God. So I'm like nonstop talking about trying to get in. I have verbal diarrhea when I get nervous. I think y'all know this by now. And we walk up and both of us sat there at the door like, can you get in? He's like, no, can you get in? And I was like, what do we do? So he sends out a mass email like, can someone let us in or how do we get in? And which we just stood there. And then I think a person from the radio side came over because there is security camera. So they may have seen us looking awkwardly at the door. And we finally came in and there was only like maybe 6 or 7 people. And the way it was, there was like literally 30 pizzas, some beverages, and everybody sitting in a circle.
Yeah.
In a very awkward conversation. And that's where I got stuck. And I was like, someone help me. Like, I was in a panic because I was like, first of all, we look like we're in a sharing circle or an AA meeting. Any of those things, or like a support group. And so it felt so awkward. I don't know a lot of the people. Like I said, I'm still technically new when it comes to meeting the people in this industry, all of it. And we had several bigwigs already there. And when I say bigwigs, CEO, CFOs, the big people that were like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to say something real inappropriate. So I just sat there quietly until other people arrived. And that made it much better because I was like, oh, I know these people. Thank God.
Right.
But I will say it was still better than last year's.
Yeah. And this is all a long roundabout way to say they bought way too much stuff. And so we got free beer and wine out of it. Also pizza. But that's why I have the box of white wine that I normally would not have.
Right.
I agree. It was better than last year. There was some very endearing but awkward karaoke, which I was part of, so there's no judgment at all. And getting to see people I haven't seen in a while. I did have an awkward moment, as you know, where I was I thought teasing somebody, and I guess he did not think that was funny. And it's not, basically I was joking about how I was filling in for him on his show, and I was like, oh, were you mad? And I think he might actually have been a little upset.
Perfect. Well, I splashed a drink in someone's face and then stabbed him with my nail. So again, this was our dear Dylan.
Holiday parties
we did well. We did well. We did real well. But yeah, I mean, I think it went well for what it was. We definitely, I came home with a giant party-size salad that we still have in our refrigerator. No, you got a 2-serving size.
True.
I got 10 people size. Yeah. And then several things of pizza. So my partner was really excited when I came home. They're like, oh. But yeah, it was super interesting. I think there was a lot of conversation about what our industry looks like, and it's unusual.
Yeah, for sure. But it did get me thinking, because last year, the episode we did when we talked about our holiday party was where I talked about how I feel like I'm too much a lot at things. And I talked about that recently, like this feeling of like being too loud, or being like taking up too much attention, or talking too much, or whatever. And I noticed this year there were a lot of times where I was like, don't do it, just stay quiet. It's better to just stay quiet. And I don't know that that's necessarily better. I think there's a balance I could find. But it was just like when I was comparing the two parties, this time I at least didn't like go home and cry despondently for a long time.
I think I did a better exit this year than last year, my awkward exit. I will give that. It was very adult that it literally ended when it was supposed to end, and we all exited. Like, happily, not disappointed that it wasn't lasting longer. We're like, all right, we're done. Yeah, we're done. Bye. Let's go home.
Right. And one of the whole reasons you go to these holiday parties, these work holiday parties, which have so many like layers where it could go wrong, in my opinion, is to be seen by your boss. And he had already left by the time I got there. And I was like only 15 to 20 minutes late.
And I did see him, but I made sure to never make eye contact with him.
Yep. Oh, well.
I mean, we are fun.
We are fun. We can be. Well, speaking of that, I don't want to talk about this the whole time. I did want to ask, and I think I know the answer, but like in your ideal world, how do you like to celebrate? What's your favorite way of celebrating?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's according to what it is. I am sentimental enough that I want it to be related to whatever we're doing. On my own, it kind of is like doing the things that I love. So for one thing, like going to my favorite restaurant and getting my favorite food. You know, we have traditions of that. Right now, my favorite place is going to H Mart, to the Uma Hamani store, essentially the aunt. It's very down home Korean cooking, and I go to get my stew there, and I get so excited. And then I go immediately and get like 10 things of Asian pastries that I love. That's something I'm like, if I feel sad or I feel like I needed a lifting to be uplifted, that might be something I would do. But yeah, outside of that, I think I typically want to do something that's related or traditional or sentimental to it. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it depends on the situation. I'm very much like, I can love a celebration in pretty much any context, whether that's like going out at restaurants or having a big party. But my favorite, like my personal favorite celebration is something that's much more low key, where like you're with your close friends and you have like drinks and food, all your favorite foods or something, and you're playing games or watching movies you've seen a million times, or that's like really where I'm at. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I do like a big, blowout sometimes. I like going out, but like my most comfortable celebration is more like staying in with my friends and just relaxing with each other.
Agreed.
Because this is our 100th episode, I tried to look up at first I tried to do a kind of joking happy hour Sminty trivia, and then I realized it was going to be way too much work for me for what I want right now. But that's a good idea. I think we should do that one day.
Yeah.
And then I was looking up like what games could we play during this that like everyone could play, and I found all of these lists for like work safe virtual games, and they were honestly hilarious and kind of depressing.
Oh no.
A lot of I was like, wow, what a world.
What a world, she says.
What a world. Oh, man. And some of them I was like, these are happy hours, we drink during them, but I have to admit, I would not play a game, which I bet a lot of you have heard of because I guess it got popular, where you do like multiple shots within an hour at work.
Oh, no.
No.
I can barely live on like a 2% seltzer. We don't need to be adding shots to this moment.
I know. And I was like, this is an official list of like work holiday games.
Oh,
okay.
no.
That's not going to be good.
They want the drama.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, then I was going to make us do like a list of favorites. But, I think we've been over a lot of it. I would say for a happy hour, I always like in these segments where we get to do a lot of stuff that I wouldn't feel comfortable doing. I know one of the and like our quote regular episodes, because I know one of the big critiques you and I keep in mind all the time is like, how does this relate to feminism? How is this about women or marginalized folks or whatever? And that is hugely important. That's what our show is about. But it is nice to have a segment where we can kind of be a little bit more like, hey, let's watch Sex and the City, which has been great. It's been like a really fun experience. It's something different for Christina. It's something where we do talk about important issues in it, even though it seems like it'd be frivolous.
Right.
We've talked about the meaning of life after
literally life and death. Like we have come through so many emotions.
Yeah.
When we really invest in something, we make pretty good episodes and things like that can bring out some emotions, which hopefully a good TV series or movies can do, which is why we talk about movies and film and books. It should be able to reflect some deep thoughts, even if it is a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always messages we're getting. And because of the society we live in, most of them, all of them are gendered in some way.
Right.
Because that's just the world we live in. And so Sex and the City is a really fun. It's interesting the conversations that have come out of that. And of course, I do love all of the nerdy conversations I get to have on here about like toxic masculinity and Mandalorians. Like it is stuff that I think is important, but it's I guess I just really enjoy Happy Hour. I'm glad that people like it because it is a chance for us to not feel so like I've got to research this and it's got to be super important and no one can ask why we're talking about it. Not that we don't research it, because sometimes we do. Sometimes we don't.
Too much.
I did want to know about Mandalorians. Yeah. But it's nice. It's nice to have kind of this segment where you and I can just discuss things. And most of those things, I mean, I would say all of them, but I'll do a solid most are like topics that are important to feminism. It's just perhaps not the angle you would think.
Well, I know we've definitely began the happy hour with literally talking about women in the industry, from beer to different types of distilleries to mixologists, talking about the industry as being a misogynistic, toxic place. Like we've definitely dug deep into that, and we still come back to it every now and again. Of course, we kind of expanded beyond that because those conversations can be deep, and also because, unfortunately, a lot of women are not involved or are not allowed to be involved. The glass ceiling is pretty low for women in that industry. But that's what we want to talk about, too. Like, we do research on that level, and I love, love, love discovering women in this place and seeing what they're doing and how they're changing things, how they're creating amazing stuff. Like, it's really fun because I went with a friend recently to a package store, which is pretty much a liquor store here in Atlanta. And I was able to point out some of the amazing alcohol or brands that are women-focused, women-owned, women created. So I was able to give them the history. And I love that, of course. And they picked it up immediately. Like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So-and-so will love this because there's a depth to it. And that is so much fun. And this episode has really taught me a lot about looking deeper into a company because we have some companies that we might really love and discover all these bad things. We're like, yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, no, I love those two because it does help me when I'm at the liquor store. It is a moment of like, I've just heard so many bad things about people in this business that I don't want to support people who are part of that, but I don't know. So I have enjoyed that as well. Like, okay, I'm confident about this one because we did this episode on it. So I feel better about buying this product. So we're definitely going to continue that. And as always, listeners, if there's any businesses, mixologists, recipes, cocktail recipes, specific recipes, please let us know. Also would like to shout out that this was your idea, Samantha. So cheers to you. The happy hour segment was your idea.
Thank you so much for humoring me with this so I can drink more on our work time.
I get to talk about all kinds of things on here. I love it. I love it. And also, announcement. We have not forgotten our Sex and the City listener coming on to join us.
We've got
episode.
Like 10 good names. So y'all, when you send it to our DMs, when you send us to the email, we are noting them. Please know this. And when you comment on our episode, it's just been timing.
Yeah, because we didn't want to do it during the holidays.
Right.
Because we're busy and we assume a lot of you are busy. So it is coming in the new year. I believe we're planning right now on the season finale of season 2.
Yes.
So
we want to close it out with a bang.
That might change, but that is our plan as of now. That is our plan. We're taking your names. We have not forgotten. We're very excited to do it.
And we are doing more Sex and the City. It's just literally at this point trying to gather through the holidays, essentially.
Yes.
Make it through the holidays.
I love it. Make it through. Yes. Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
And cheers to all of you. Thanks for all of you who have joined in on these happy hours. 100 of them who have written in about them. We really, really appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes. And if you would like to contact us, you can. Our email is stuffmediamomstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram at stuffwhenevertold you. Thanks as always to our super producer, Christina.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff Who Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.